Hello, this is the introduction to Mr. J's Math channel. Right now it's all geometry. It's broken up into 12 chapters, as you can see here. Each chapter is, on average, 6 to 7 sections. One of them might have 8 sections, I don't remember. Your class, or book, may not follow exactly the same order that I've laid out here. I've checked quite a few Common Core geometry texts. Generally the only differences are right here in trigonometry and quadrilaterals. Some of them put quadrilaterals first and then trigonometry. But right here in the middle, I think similarity is usually chapter 6, but these middle chapters, sometimes the order is switched around a bit. They don't depend on each other. In other words, you could jump straight from similarity to quadrilaterals and then back to trigonometry, and it wouldn't hurt you any. If your course follows this order, fine. If it doesn't, then just skip ahead to whichever one you're studying at the time and then go back. Every geometry book I've seen does break it up into 12 chapters with pretty much these headings. But the order is not always the same, and as I say, don't give a thought to switching the order around in which you watch them. It shouldn't hurt you at all. Chapters 10, 11, and 12 are not up yet. Right now it's the middle of October 2019. In a month and a half, the other 3 will be up, hopefully long before anyone will really need to look at them. These videos were hopefully designed for students who miss class for whatever reason, or just want to watch and see how to work problems. Which brings me to step 2. The videos themselves start with a short review of the material needed to work the problems. The videos are usually 35 to 40 minutes. It's about 10 minutes or so of reviewing the information necessary to work problems, and then we work problems from that section. I don't insert any pauses. When I introduce a problem, you can pause and see if you can work it out yourself, and then watch me work it out. And sometimes, if you're tired, you can just sit back and watch me work the problem and see if you can learn something that way. You might. But I left where to pause and try to work things out for yourself. I left that entirely up to you. In a classroom, I might stop and ask questions. Here I leave it entirely up to you when to stop and ask yourself a question or try to work out the problem on your own. This breakup, I haven't listed the actual sections here. They would be visible in the thumbnail. The thumbnail should tell you what the section title would be. Actually, the section description. The title, all the titles are chapter and section. For instance, this thumbnail came from Chapter 4, Section 5, and you'll see the file name and the title. They're the same for mine. You'll see something like CHX-X. First number is the chapter, followed by a dash, and then the section number. That's how it's laid out. Pretty simple. You may see me make a false start here and there, maybe even write something down wrong, and then correct it before we actually get to the end, of course. I don't work these problems ahead of time. I don't work from a set of notes. I want students to see that all you have to do is start with the given information, take things one step at a time, and you should end up with a solution. And speaking of problems, unfortunately math is about working problems. You can't just sit back and study it. It's like playing the piano or playing tennis. You just have to do it. Which is why I tend to focus in these videos on working problems. I also try to focus especially on the review. The sections, it's a mixture, but the review is entirely standardized test problems, well, sample standardized test problems taken from that particular chapter. I feel that the more the student sees standardized test problems, the more comfortable that student will be with them and the better they will do on the exam. And the last thing I would say is to apologize for the production values. I don't have a sound studio. I'm using a not very sensitive mic extremely close to my mouth. That way it doesn't pick up extraneous noises. I don't live in a very quiet place. I assume you'd rather not hear clucking chickens, barking dogs, chainsaws, and sirens in the background of the video. Instead, with this kind of a microphone close to my mouth, what you will hear is occasionally you hear me breathing. Maybe more than occasionally. I tend to breathe a lot. Sorry about the Darth Vader effect. I hope it doesn't scare the heck out of your little brother or sister. Well, that's it for the intro, so let's go learn a bunch of geometry.